Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
I have Lucy Adams with me. She is a principal in an engineer firm in St. Louis. And so that was my first question. So I went ahead and gave that away. So we're going to jump into the interview because we want to hear about you. So tell us a little bit more about what your role is, where you work, and a little bit more about your personal life.
Okay. I'm Lucy Adams. I'm a principal and manager of marketing communications for an engineering firm here in St. Louis. I lead our marketing and communication efforts. We have a very small group. It's just myself and one marketing coordinator. And then we have some business development, one or two business development people. We have a lot of seller doers. And then I'm also a principal with the firm, so I'm in the ownership group and leadership group. And I am the only female within that hierarchy right there. So that's my work. At home, I'm a married mother of 3 boys, so very, very busy with them. And that's me.
That's you. Awesome. Let's jump into question 2. What are your biggest challenges as a leader and why is it so challenging?
I think I have 2 things. Again, as I said, I'm the only female there in that upper management leadership level. And then I'm also the only non-engineer as well. So actually, there is one guy, but he is also math and finance. So I am the one that's not that science kind of techie background. So I feel sometimes I've struggled to make my voice heard within that group. We have a lot of strong personalities and opinions, and that also makes it more difficult. So I've struggled in that area previously, but I feel that has gotten better as I've matured and through my leadership training and through my participation with diagnostic thinking.
Thank you for that. It's tough. There's a lot of women out there in the man's world, right? And then how do we navigate that? And it sounds like you did overcome it. So tell us a little bit more how you did that, because that's what a lot of women are faced with today.
So I do have a great, my peers that are on my associate executive level are all around my age, males. And so they have been great. I think we're big backers of each other. So having them there with me before, they have spoken up for me once or twice within settings where I was kind of being talked over and that sort of situation. So that has helped a lot. Again, participating with diagnostic thinking has really helped as well. And that I've been able to discuss some of those situations in detail and get people question. They ask things that maybe I haven't been thinking of that I could come around and do differently. Suggestions they've given and how they have handled it in the same situation. So those all have been tools and ways that have helped me progress from from very challenging to less challenging.
Yes. One of the things you spoke to, which is really common, and I hear it a lot from a lot of women, is being talked over.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit what you tried before diagnostic thinking, and maybe was there a change or something that you took out of that to be able to help kind of navigate some of these challenging places where you felt like you're being either ignored or talked over?
I think prior to diagnostic thinking, I would be frustrated. I may shut down and throw my hands up and be like, oh, well, that didn't go very well. Or I don't know that we're going the direction that I would have, chosen because I didn't get to say anything. And I kind of would leave it at that. And I didn't like that. That's not something, I didn't feel great about that, but it was kind of like, I don't know what else to do. Since joining diagnostic thinking, that has changed. I mean, it should, because I have other people who are, even though they're not at my work every day, they're backing me. I know they have confidence in me, and that is great. they've told me about their struggles with similar situations that has also helped. And I think we help each other by coming around, and trying to solve those issues. And how do we get past that? Again, I talk about my allies here. That was something I learned through diagnostic thinking. And I think I had it there and I just didn't realize to leverage that. So there's been some of those, suggestions, those tools that people have brought up with this group that it's been like eye-opening, like, oh, why didn't I think of that before? That this has been here this whole time and I didn't know to use it, let's say.
That's a powerful statement, because I think that's where a lot of women feel this unconscious, the things that we don't know, right, causes us to just become paralyzed and stuck. And you said something that's really, really important for other women, and that is that you have your trusted group, like the Diagnostic Thinking group, but yet we may not see each other for 30 days, but we're with you in the grunt work of leadership in those 30 days, regardless if we see each other or not. Is an important piece.
Exactly. It is. And I know that I could reach out to any one of you if something popped up before our next get together. Just like, wow, I need a quick, can I bounce this off somebody? What should I do here? And any one of you would respond back and help me. And I would do the same for that group too, because it's such an important space and a trusted group of women.
I love that you shared that, because trust is an imperative part of this group. And, trust has, a lot of this straightforwardness, this honesty, this receptivity, the care for each other, that we can be very honest without being hurtful, because we're not there to hurt or fix anyone. We're there to help you see what you can't see, right? And help you be more strategic in what your next steps are. And that's where I think a lot of women get a little bit stuck. And so what was business like for you, or your leadership role in your company before diagnostic thinking and where it is today?
So prior to diagnostic thinking, I was on a leadership track, but I don't know if I would have gotten to where I am today and been as confident, have made those promotions that I have. It has really helped me to reframe my thinking and not be so rigid in how I think everybody else should have been thinking about a situation. It has helped me to advocate for myself, ask for things that I want. And it's taught me to practice in those asks so that I am comfortable or more comfortable going into asking those questions. I feel like this group has been so valuable to me on my way up the leadership ladder, let's say here. It really has.
I love that. And I want to kind of go through, give your perspective of what it's like to be in a diagnostic thinking group. What can you share with other people about the process? Because it's a rigid kind of a process. And I'd love to hear kind of maybe what your thoughts are when you first experienced it, and then, what's it like today? Because those are probably two very different things.
So we start every session as a circle of trust, basically. We are asked a list of things, and can we, abide by this? Nothing goes out of this room. We are trusted here. So I think that's number one, like a huge component of the whole group, is that you can really open up and really discuss things. In our groups, we have discussed professional and personal things, which is, you could not do that if you were not in a trusted group. So we start with that. We will go and kind of rate on most sessions, like how we're doing with work, like how do we feel work is going right now on a scale of 1 to 10? How is family life doing, et cetera, et cetera. And then we kind of start and look for which one of us has a pressing need, or who has that lower number. Do we need to discuss something? And so then we go about having a discussion with that person. And they start out by asking, like, what is the problem that needs to be solved? And you might say X, Y, and Z. And then as you go through the process, the rest of the group is asking you questions. And I will say in the beginning, it was so hard to just ask questions and
Yes.
not give a solution or
Yeah.
like, here, this is what I've experienced. You should do this. No, super hard to kind of get that piece of the process by just asking questions.
Yep.
But once you ask all those questions, then the person who's being processed is asked again. So that question, that X, Y, and Z question that you started with, is that still what we need to solve? Most of the time it is not.
Yeah.
And that is the surprising thing. I've gotten used to it now, but it used to always surprise me in the beginning, how different that one question up top would be compared to what we're now going to be asked to solve. And that's, again, that's your thinking, having those people bring out those questions, draw that information out, you know, you really get to the root of the issue. And if you get to the root of the issue, then you are more easily able to solve that. And you prevent a whole bunch of other issues popping up because you weren't really solving the one that you needed to solve. And that has been what I think is one of the most neat things about the process that we do there, is that you come away, like you go in this whole all over the place, and then you're like, oh my gosh, how did I not think? Yes, that of course that is what I should have been asking this whole time. And now, yes, okay, now we can start with solutions. And so the rest of the group will then start offering solutions.
Yeah.
And then we take away, what are one or two things we can do in the next month that is supposed to, that will help us solve this problem. And again, sometimes it's an immediate needs. Somebody's going into a meeting next week and they really need some help on how they're going to like present this. And other times it's like a long-term goal. So what are some of those one or two things you can do in the next month,
right,
that you're going to be held accountable and asked for about next month, if you were able to work on those goals.
Yes.
So, and that's been valuable for me too, because I'm kind of not a long-term planner. I'm more on that immediate need.
Yeah.
So then having some goals, especially if they are those longer goals, trying to follow up and know that I'm going to have to show some progress next month. So I can't just like, this was great today and I'm going to put it aside. Like,
we're not going to let anybody slide by, are we?
Right.
We're going to make sure everybody's accountable, but we do that because we really care about each other. It's not, there's no maliciousness to it. It's just trying to help people continue to move, right? Because it's so easy to say, I'm going to do something and then not do it, right? So it really is, but it's got to be comfortable to you. Right? Whatever strategies we look at, we say, okay, does this work for you? Are you comfortable with this? Can you do this, right? Versus having a different idea and somebody has it already crafted and said, you need to go do this, right? It's just a very different approach. So thank you for sharing that. I love playing Judge Judy because it's the hardest piece in the very beginning because, people want to give solutions and your questions are leading. So for all of our, listeners that may be a part of this case study is understanding as a leader, you don't want to hand out solutions to people because you're not giving people an opportunity to be responsible and to think on their own, right? So that shift from that strategic place of where you were as a leader, from what I heard you said, was somebody who comes from a totally different place and asking more questions. So you clearly understand from your seat, but also for everyone else, oh, this really could be the problem we're solving, right? But the cost to the company when we make a bad decision is really very costly. For women leaders, what we do know, a wrong decision usually causes career stalls, and over a lifetime can cost you what it could be up to $1.5 million if you are continually not solving the right problem. So this process, critical thinking, thank you for sharing how powerful it is for you and what I know it to be for all of us in the group. So thank you so much for sharing. What would you say to somebody who's considering working with diversity diagnostic leadership systems?
Go for it. Do whatever you can to do it. I just think for all of us who have done it, that we can't tell you how valuable it is in your leadership and your career goals. It is just, it has just moved all of us along, and faster than we could on our own.
Yep. I love that. I
So
love it.
don't
Thank
be afraid to ask for that from, your work as well. I mean, I have asked that through my work every year, and I've come back and said, I've demonstrate, and they've seen that play out for me and know that that is valuable. So
Yeah. And that's the transformation I've seen for you, Lucy, is somebody that steps in and you like, okay, I know I should ask, but it's not that I should ask. It's like, I'm going to ask, right? So all of your shoulds and coulds went to I wills. And so congratulations to you and your partnership with your amazing firm. And thank you for being a part of creating something very powerful for other women and being a part of my own journey. So Lucy, thank you so much.
it's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Signing off, and we'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
Thank you.